today. Once again, we are working on biographies. A biography is a text written to inform the reader about a person's life. Within the person, we're looking at facts and events about the person that we are reading about. Remember, it shares facts in chronological order, and it is narrated by the author, not by the featured person. Within this person's biography, we will be looking at their childhood, the challenges or obstacles that they went through during their lifetime, their character traits, behavioral and physical, and what legacy did that person leave behind. And along the way, we will be looking at a timeline, and we will complete the timeline chart of the major events that happened in their life, okay? Child, Harriet had a nickname, Minty. When Minty was around 6-year-old, she was put to work. Her job was to wind yarn into balls. If the yarn broke, she was whipped. Later, Minty was given a new job. She checked muskrat traps. Minty had to walk barefoot in cold rivers. Still, she liked this work better than winding yarn. One day, Minty woke up sick. When she was better, she was not allowed in the river anymore. It was back to winding yarns for Minty. When Minty was older, she worked in the fields. One day, she saw a slave try to escape. The slave ran into a store. The field boss followed him. So did Minty. Then the slaves ran out of the store. This time, Minty stood in the doorway. She refused to move. The boss picked up a heavy weight. He threw it at a slave. He missed. The weight hit Minty instead. Minty was badly hurt. When she got better, she had a long scar on her forehead. She would sometimes fall asleep suddenly. The other slaves were proud of Minty. She had stood up to the boss. They no longer called her Minty. She was Harriet now. In 1844, Harriet married John Tubman. John was a free man, so he wasn't a slave, he was free. No one owned him, yet Harriet was still a slave. Harriet learned that she was going to be sold. She would have to leave her family. Harriet told John that she wanted to escape. She wanted him to go with her. John didn't want to go. He also didn't want Harriet to escape. He told her that if she tried, he would tell her master. The master is the person that a slave works for. So who remembers when Harriet Tubman was born? Yes.
1820.
She was born in 1820. So we're going to put that right there on our timeline. What year did she try to escape? 1844. Harriet tried to escape. So we're going to put that on our timeline. Save. Let's look at Harriet Tubman's childhood. When and where was she born? Yes. Yes, where? Yes.
In the south.
She was born in the South. I believe it said Maryland. What challenges did she face so far in the story? Yes. Slavery. What else? Yes. She got hit. Yes.
Being cold rivers.
She was in cold rivers, which made her what?
Sick.
Very good. Harriet waited for John to fall asleep. Then she packed some food and left the cabin. Harriet knew that some people wanted to help slaves. These people ran a special railroad, the Underground Railroad. What's it called?
Underground Railroad.
The railroad didn't have trains. It was made up of people who hid slaves and helped them escape. The slaves were called passengers. knew where one such woman lived. The woman helped Harriet. She told Harriet how to get to the next safe house. Harriet traveled only at night. During the day, people would be looking for her. Harriet walked quite quickly through the dark woods. She followed the North Star. She knew it would lead her to the north, to freedom. What was she trying to go to?
The north.
To get
Freedom.
For several days, Harriet crossed over to Pennsylvania, a free state in the north. Free states didn't allow slavery. Harriet had dreamed of this moment for so long. Now it had finally happened. She was free. Look at that picture of her. Look how free she looks. Is she happy?
Yes.
Yeah. Harriet found work in a hotel, but she didn't forget her family. She wanted them to be free too. One day, she learned that her sister's family was about to be sold. Harriet went back to the South and helped them escape. Let's talk about what kind of person we see her to be. What are some character traits? Some character traits that we could describe her as, yes. She's definitely helpful. Yes.
Determined.
She definitely is determined. Yes.
Kind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Yes.
Brave.
She is brave. Very good. All right, so we have a lot. Harriet continued helping slaves escape. Each time the danger grew, slave owners found out about Harriet. They offered a reward for her. They wanted her caught, dead or alive. But Harriet didn't stop. Sometimes she disguised herself. She would dress as a man or as an old woman. That's a wanted poster when you're wanted and they have a reward for you. It used to look like this. One day, Harriet went back for her husband. John met her at the cabin door. He told her he did not want to leave his home. Sadly, Harriet walked away. She never saw John again. Did they want to go? There are many reasons why some slaves did not want to go. They just were afraid of the unknown, that's all. It didn't make them bad people. Harriet helped many people escape, but her parents were still slaves. They were old now. Traveling on foot would be too hard for them. Harriet wanted her parents to be free, though. In 1857, she went back for them. She made a simple wagon and hitched a horse to it. Then she drove her parents away from slavery. In 1861, war broke out. The states in the north wanted to free the slaves. The states in the south did not. Harriet helped the north. She worked as a nurse. She cared for sick soldiers. So what year are we going to put on our timeline? Yes.
1861.
1861. And what happened that year that was important? Yes.
Slavery broke out.
War broke out. Because the North wanted the slaves free and the South didn't. Okay? War has ended. In 1865, the war ended. The North had won. Now all slaves were free. Harriet Tubman continued to help people. She returned to her home in Auburn, New York. There she cared for her parents. She also cared for former slaves. Harriet never turned anyone away. In 1913, Harriet Tubman died. The people of Auburn honored her. Flags were flown at half-mast. Famous people spoke. Everyone agreed that Harriet Tubman had been a brave woman, which is exactly what Sierra said. In her lifetime, Harriet Tubman helped more than 300 slaves escape. She never lost a passenger on the Underground Railroad, and she was never caught. And this is a picture of her. Did Harriet Tubman die? Yes.
1913.
1913. What legacy did she leave behind? Yes.
Slavery.
well, you can't really leave behind slavery. What legacy, what impact did she have on the world? Yes. She helped. And slavery. What is she known for? What is she known for? What is she remembered for? Yes.
Helping slaves get out of slavery.
Helping slaves escape. Very good. Very good. So once again, we are talking about a person's life and the events that happen within that person's life. And that is the reason why we call it a biography. And when we're looking at a biography, again, we're always talking about how this person grew up, what obstacles they faced, what traits they have within themselves, and what legacy they're leaving behind, and how we can create a timeline of events in chronological order. Got it? Good.